There we are. Now we have sound, yeah? Ah, hello, everyone. So good to be with you. Um, my Sunday mornings are just not quite what they used to be. Is the sound okay for everybody? For anybody who is here? Just like to know if the sound's all right. If you can hear me okay, because I am using something a little different than I had before. Um, so let's see. Good. Sound is good. Yay. Excellent. So, welcome. Welcome to our Sunday gathering. Our version of church, I guess. Yeah. um, well, I want to open the floor early to questions. I still have this on. My work shirt. Yeah. Just had it on when I was driving around. Had to do a bunch of errands this morning. So, as you can see, this is not a formal thing. These satsangs, I guess, is what they are. Yeah. What's that? What's a satsang? Well, I'll tell you, it's not some. It's not some Indian with long hair and a huge beard in an orange robe, sitting up front and dispensing all sorts of knowledge. It's not that. Yeah. Truth is satsang. It's a beautiful word, and it simply means, communing with truth. It's it's just it's satsang is an individual thing. It's your own experience of yourself, and the role that the teacher plays is simply one who helps guide you to yourself. It's um, it's not it's not knowledge. It's learning how to look, how to see. Uh, every artist, this visual artist, especially if you're a photographer or doing anything that's not like just abstract, it's just kind of coming purely out of your imagination. But if it's a landscape or a setting, there's a need to learn how to see, how to look at something, because we tend to look at things, we see what we've always seen, and then look away to something else. Attention bops around. Of course, these days there are so many things that are absolutely um, just grabbing aggressively for your attention, not to benefit you, but or to express anything artistic, just to get your attention to sell you stuff. Um, we've we've kind of lost that capacity to really focus attention and and long enough to see what we hadn't seen before. Now, this kind of looking uh, is, well, it's the heart and soul of self realization, because it's not you're just looking at something, right, that you've seen before. It's looking at you, looking at yourself. Now, the complicated thing about that is that while you can look at anything else in the universe, you can study it, take it apart, you can stare at it for long periods of time, and people do. There are people who study, was it George Washington Cleaver? Was it his name? Yeah, there's a fellow who he spent his whole life studying the peanut. That's it. Everything about the peanut. Can't remember and how many patents he had on different products made from peanuts and all the different uses of peanuts. Um, there are people who study like butterflies or something, and they'll have like you know, uh, you know, 1,000 butterflies, and they'll describe in great. They'll take months, years, just the butterfly wing. Now, you look, well, yeah, it's really beautiful, the butterfly, and then you look somewhere else. It's all interest, and then focus because of the interest enough to see things you didn't see before. Now, when self knowledge, self realization is the goal, the subject you are so curious about is yourself. But it's different. You can't just step outside yourself, look back, and and scrutinize you. Like a butterfly, they can't take you and pin you up to the wall, right? So you can look, so you can study it, or take the wings off, or take your arms off, and look at it. We're talking about you and your experience of yourself, and your experience of yourself is not one thing knowing another. It is you knowing you, but not as a thing that you perceive out there. It's how you experience yourself, and that requires the guidance of a teacher, because first off, it's not something we've ever learned how to do. Secondly, it's contrary to the way we have been taught what's important and what to look at. And it's not something that's really well known or understood. This is not a particularly crowded path. As you can see, with merely a handful of people here, that this approach to self realization or spirituality or ending suffering, however you want to put it, is not the common path. It's not what draws most people here. So how then do you do it? Well, first off, you have to something has to awaken inside of you to give you to invoke a curiosity about it. Something's got to catch your attention. And it could be a phrase you hear, something you read, a book you stumble on. I stumbled on I Am That, Nisargadatta Maharaj. Um, and then that curiosity, that interest grows and eventually kind of takes you over. But it's not clear at first exactly where it's going, because we're not really aware at first when the bug bites us to explore spirituality, and especially this particular thread of spirituality. It's not clear how to actually go about do it. We tend to go about doing it the way we approach everything else, and we're trying to get a really, really good idea of ourselves, a really good concept, and we want to become spiritual. We want to become more compassionate, more loving, more open, more free. And little by little, when it doesn't work so well, we begin to, what the hell's going on? Or we begin to, we, we open to the possibility that maybe there's more to it than we realize. And we seek out somebody who can guide us. Because it's almost impossible to um, uh, to grasp the shift in perception and shift in context that non-dual self-inquiry actually represents. It's not obvious because it's we're not looking in the same way. We're not studying in the same way. We're not accumulating knowledge in the same way. because how do you accumulate knowledge when you are the thing you're accumulating knowledge about? How do you study something when you and the studied are exactly the same thing? When the subject and the object are one, it requires a completely different approach to knowledge than our way of doing it, which is a subject and an object. From this perspective, I describe the object. And I try to get to ways where I clear out my prejudices, my ideas, my concepts of it, so I can really study it as to what it is. But we can't do that with ourselves. Clear out the prejudices, clear out the concepts. Yes, we can certainly do that. This other thread, this other way of approaching knowledge is called Vedanta. That's the name for it in Sanskrit, which means end of knowledge. um, a different way of looking. And that different way of looking is very simply the direct looking at what you actually experience as yourself. And it simply starts by getting in contact with the essence of your experience, of all experiences, is the sense of your own being. Just the sense of it without any thoughts about what that being is. My being, immediately your mind is going to give you pictures of you and memories of you, and how you look and are and the character and kind of person you are and that sort of thing. But those are all images in the mind. Remember, an image in the mind is not you, right? You can picture your car in your mind, but that's not your car. You can't drive this around. Your friends, your family, you could picture them, but the picture of them is not them, isn't it? Yeah. When it's something out there, an object that you can have a relationship with, you can true up the image simply, uh, simply by going, going back and referring to the thing that it's an image of. Well, how do you do that with yourself? You can't. It is. It is not. Um, well, this is why it's so different. Start with simply acknowledging the fact I am, I exist. Now that's experientially, isn't it? It's not a concept, it's not a belief, it's not an idea. It is a constant, direct knowing of your being. Now just stop there. I am. Now, what'll happen is, because we're not used to doing that, we'll go there. Yeah, okay. And then off your attention wants to go to something else. This is where you become like the guy with butterflies. Or a lover. Lovers are we look at absolutely everything about somebody we're in love with. We need to stare at our actual direct experience of ourselves, our direct knowing of ourselves, long enough for something, for it to begin to unfold. Just like anything else you'd study, you get an interest in it, you pay more attention to it. The more attention you pay, the bigger it gets, the more you see. We just have to be encouraged and welcomed into this practice of looking at ourselves long enough without concepts to be able to experience something we hadn't experienced before, see something we hadn't seen before. And to do that usually requires somebody to guide you. Um, it's 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 you can't do it from a bunch of YouTube videos like this. You can get a taste, even with some time. We spent some time even on YouTube, which I do with my self inquiry sangha, which isn't YouTube, it's Zoom. We can interact and the like, but it doesn't have to be in uh, in person, but it does have to be focused. Enough time there where you can immerse yourself in it and really look at things, and then help be guided to looking even more, questioning an assumption. Is what we believe about ourselves, does that true up to my actual knowing of myself? Just like it would if I, you know, somebody told me something nasty about my friend, a friend of mine, I would just go, oh, that's terrible. My friend, I hate my friend now. You just accept it? Or would you go, let me see. This guy said this about you. Is this true? Okay. And they say, yeah, it is true. I really did that. Now you know, and the relationship shifts, and you may get closer or something. Or just say, no, I never did that. You true it up. You take the belief and you scrutinize it. This is what evidence-based stuff is. This is how we want to do fact checking and things. Somebody makes a claim, we want to say, is it actually true, rather than just believing it? Because you can see, when you just believe what somebody says, you can see what happens. Just look around our world. The same thing applies to us, doing it for yourself. I have this belief about myself. Is the belief actually true? How do I know? How do I true that up? Well, I have to go to me as I am. When you do that consistently, you will find the beliefs about you are all based on an image of you that was never true in the first place. Doing that is self-inquiry, but you could also call it satsang. You are communing with the truth. And I'm going to leave it at that, I think. Suddenly just curtain came down. That's it, G. Don't talk about that anymore. Okay, I shan't. So I see some questions coming in. So let me say hello to everybody. Rosario, and there's Ali and Marty. Let's see. Rosario's in Madrid. So, Ali Savistacker's in Florida. Marty is in Vancouver. Ida is in way up there somewhere, aren't you? I think it's like Denmark. Yes, I forgot. Levi, hello, Levi. In Michigan, there's Jill in California. Sound is good. There's Nay in England. Mary out of England. Yes, church. Thank you forever. Yeah, it's good church. The Church of the Nut, too. Yeah. Hello, Ella. Ah, Laird. Good to see you, my friend. It's good to see you again. Sorry, I've not been around for a while, but it's good to see you now, listening to you as I drive home. Good. Wonderful. Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So glad. So glad you are here. Uh, Chicago. You're in Chicago. That's right. That's Ella in Sweden. Nay. Gee, could you share your perspective on the feeling of safety, security, being provided for, and a sense of belonging from within oneness? I feel as if receiving these things externally is an extension, reflection of the feeling within. If this is the case, how can we feel it and maintain feeling it within ourselves? Wonderful. Just and a fantastic question. I gotta just junk on my desk. I, I hate that. I get easily cluttered. I have to keep things like neat, or I'll just kind of go uh, a, a little bit, just a little bit mad. So um, let's see, where was I? Right. Um, well, in oneness, right. Let me go directly to the to the depth of it. in oneness, there's no question of safe or not safe, secure or not secure, being provided for, and belonging, because there's only one. Now, our minds cannot conceive oneness. There's no such, any concept of oneness is just going to be based on some kind of sense of the unity of many. And that's good. That's a good thing. Love to have us more unified about things. Right? But just consider one as just one without a second. Now, there's not even the word one. Safety, safety, what? What else is there? There's nothing other than me. What is there to be but safe? I exist, period. No beginning, no end, no time, no space. I am what is. No birth, no death, no up, no down, no boundaries. So, what else is there other than one? Myself, the self, one. I am the I am the totality. There is nothing other than me. I am all there is. You are all there is. So where's the sense of 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 not being provided for or being provided for? Where does it exist in that? I just am all. There's no such thing as any there's no opposites here, is there? One does not have an opposite. And so just bringing your attention to where I was pointing to earlier, just the sense I am, full stop. I am is our sense of one. I. I mean, I. Boom. Forget about others. Forget about the world. Forget about everything except that sense I am. Well, that's the being. That is what is. That I am is that which does not have a second. It's not I am plus. It is just I am. The I am, just doing that little exercise. Just be I am and nothing else. Don't entertain any other ideas. Just the just the felt sense, which because it's a fact. It's just a fact. It's not really feeling in the way we normally think of it. It's just this intuitive knowing I am. Now, just putting your attention on that and ignoring all the rest of the thoughts. Just put them aside. We're not getting rid of them. We're not going to just burn them, throw them out, or anything like that. Just clear the space for a moment. Just feel the sense of I am. Notice it. Now just look at it for a while. Stay with it. Attention, at first, attention will, everybody do this. What the hell, we're here, right? Attention will drag you away. It'll want to, or the attention will want to go away from it because it's been so used to focusing on our problems and our experiences and our stuff going on in our life. All well and good, not a problem. We're not ignoring it or diminishing it. We're just saying, right now, it's just me. Just like the meditations I do during at the beginning of all the classes we have together. Now, with even that question, what about safety? And just set it aside for a moment. So we don't have a conceptual answer, which would be what we might do if we're processing or emotional healing and that sort of thing. But you're asking from the point of view of this oneness. Right? So rather than talking about it, I want you to experience it. Be that one. Not conceptually, but just I am. That's all you know. Really, it's all you know for sure. The rest, questionable. But you know this. right? No doubt. I am. Don't, don't even become, make the spiritual seeking to know what I am. Don't even consider that. Put aside even enlightenment and just I am. And what do you find? Is there any sense there of not being safe, or insecure, or unprovided for? Is there any sense of movement, like it's coming and going? Sense of it even being an it, something other than just myself? Does it feel still? Are there problems there? And again, these aren't beliefs. I'm not putting this stuff into your head. And don't use imagination. Look to see. This is not a belief system. It's not conceptual. It's sober looking. What do you see? Without all of the things our attention goes to, just my own being, is it not quiet, still, motionless? Can you find a beginning to it, a boundary? And if you can, what's looking at the boundary? Oh, wait a minute. Okay, that's another image, isn't it? Now, this sense, this being, it's not something else, is it? It's your being. This is the not two. This is non-dual recognition. This is not one thing knowing another. It's you knowing you. No intermediary. Notice the question of safety, security, lack, all the opposites, they simply don't apply here because it's one. You are one. That's all out here in the world of manifestation. But we're not looking at the manifestation. We're looking at that which isn't a manifestation. It doesn't come from somewhere else. It is. This is the ground of being. Now, as we begin to wind this down, you might go, boy, that was really nice exercise. That was cool. We should do that again sometime. Wants to turn it into yet another experience and say, okay, now good. How do we maintain that peace in our lives? Well, you can't do it conceptually. What you do is you return here, this place. Now, look, we didn't take a lot of time. It doesn't have to be 2 hours in weird positions wearing funny clothes. 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes on a break or at lunch, 5 minutes before you go to bed, just checking in. And what happens is that beingness, if I can use that term, because it is what you actually are, just the giving it of attention, it itself will begin to come out and make adjustments. You won't have to try to know, how do I maintain it? You don't have to maintain it. It's what is. It's self-maintained. it it just is. It can't be anything other than what it is. So it's maintaining itself. You maintaining yourself. You just have to keep giving it attention. It'll do the rest. As it does that, we call it grace. Sometimes what it does is absolutely miraculous. But most of the time, we just begin to notice subtle shifts. Di- Things are different. And when I'm with you in our tapping classes, the emotional healing uh, classes, I'm simply preparing the nervous system for this. That's what's happening. We are preparing the nervous system to become more and more open, more and more available, and more willing to simply begin to surrender to what's actually true about you, your true authentic self. So does that answer it for you, my, my love, my dear Nay? Very good, very good. Let me know. Sal, hello, Sal. Sal C. The Fat Muppet. Why do women feel entitled to be fake? Sorry if this sounds sexist. It's a genuine question. I'll take it as a genuine question. I don't sense that you're trying to be sexist about it. But take a look. Right, there are assumptions. Um, there are assumptions built into your question that need to be looked at. Because if I take up and try to answer why, it means I'm agreeing with your premise. Right? So first off, um, do women feel entitled to anything? Right? And I think if I got a show of hands here, show of hands of women here feel entitled, I wouldn't get any of them to raise their hand. I'm sure there are some. You know, I know of you know divas, celebrities, and that sort of thing that really want just constant attention. They're just very weak, insecure people, unfortunately. And that sense of entitlement is a cheap substitute for self confidence. And then the other is to be fake. What is that fake? So there's the sense of entitlement, but then entitlement, so I have the right to be fake. Um, how are they being? How are they being? Are women being fake? So I can get clarity on that. We can we can look closely to see if there might be another uh, sense under there about this, because it is a view that uh, that you have about women. And I'm not criticizing. I'm not judging it. We all have different views about things coming from our experience. The invitation in satsang is to say, okay, is my view of them actually true? Right? And if any women here are offended by that, well, um, let's just be, let's not turn this into some kind of an argument or fight or something like that. Let's all look at it together. Right? We all have views of each other. We have views of the of, of the other gender. Okay? We have views of those who are attracted to those of their same gender. We have views about them. We have our view of them. As I was talking about it in the beginning, our idea, our view of something or someone, in this case, women in general, isn't them. It's our view of them. But if we hold to that tightly, it will the way the mind works is that it will filter out contradictory evidence, even deny it, sometimes delusionally, right? Because it doesn't want to question its basic assumptions. So it's going to look as if your belief is true, right? But if you see that every image we hold about absolutely anybody is just an image and can't possibly be the truth of them, then we know our then we become flexible. We go, well, maybe I don't understand it. Right now, you may have had experiences with women who have badly treated you, misused you. I was a very abused kid from by my crazy mother, right? So it took me a while to actually have any kind of reasonable idea of what women. I was terrified of them. I was just terrified, because you know the most influential woman in my life was a terror. Simple as that. I was terrorized by her. So yeah, it's the way it happens. So our our view of anybody is a mixture of let me get something to drink here. Is a mixture of what we're seeing, what's there, and ourselves, our various projections and the like. So setting that all aside, and then just looking at, well, what do you regard as fake? What makes something fake? Now it's interesting because it's a good word. Because if I can see something's fake, it means I have at least an intuitive sense about what is real. Now, if I can really put my attention on what's real, I can begin to drop my any kind of judgment or even concern about fake. It's just I don't care about it. She's gone. It doesn't matter. I don't want fake. I want real. Right. So now it's not so much about why are they entitled to be fake or what's fake or what isn't, but it becomes my own desire for the satisfaction of companioning with that which is genuine, which also means wanting to companion with what is genuine within myself. I can go, you know what? There's been lots of times in my life I've been fake. Times when I was doing voiceovers and characters for video games and the like. I was a fake all day long. I was becoming somebody else, and we do it. We all do it. We all our best foot forward and that sort of thing. So I sense that there might be some kind of a sense of pain around that that we can look at, because we've all been wounded, right? We don't live in a healthy time. All of us have been raised in environments um, where our parents themselves were traumatized, and the only thing they could do is traumatize us. And so we've got these images of each other that we're afraid. And I other women that I know that I've worked with who have the experience of just men being creeps, being able to walk down the street without being insulted or some lewd comment made. Right. So have some rather unfortunate views of men. Right? You can see how this can happen. We've got to put that aside. We're all on the same team here, folks. Especially these days when institutions are failing all over the place. Governments are have become almost useless. They're self-absorbed. I mean, the 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 line of of of, the of the support and defense of our true freedom and liberty lies in us, you and me, ordinary folk. How do we do that? Well, we seek to mend all the divisions between us because they're all made up. They're all arbitrary. Based on our personal experience, we have different views of people. Satsang is the opportunity to, and self-inquiry, to true up those views. Are they really true? Right? And for me, the goal of all civilization, society, human interaction is love. Love. So how do I find that love? Well, love is the opposite of separation, disconnect, polarity, disagreement, conflict. It's the exact opposite. So how do we resolve those places of separation so that we can know love, so that we can know a sense of oneness? It's interesting because we just was talking about Nia, about oneness. The, that sense of I amness, that sense of just pure being, extended outward, the one manifesting itself as the many, is what we know of as love. Now, if I can start from the place that anyone I feel separate from, or I'm pushing away, or really don't like the way they look at things, that it's an image in my mind. It doesn't mean I have to agree with everything. We don't have to hold hands and sing kumbaya. We can agree to disagree, but we can agree on the essence that is that there's no benefit, joy, success, or happiness in maintaining arbitrary divisions. There just isn't. Love is the answer to the world's needs. Simple as that. Simple as that. So I invite everybody to be willing to question all of their assumptions about themselves and about others. Again, it doesn't mean that you have to accept everybody, because if you drop your ideas about them, you can experience them as they are, which means somebody who can't be trusted, you will know they're not to be trusted. But it's different to say, well, he's not trustworthy. That's the way he is. And there's no judgment of it. It's where he happens to be, his experience, his conditioning, what he's been through. I have no idea what his life has been like. Right? So I can't trust. I can't trust him. Right? Good. I don't have to judge him. Right? Love is not stupid. It's wise, but it it's not condemning. So you know who people are. You know who can get close because they're trustworthy. You know who have to be kept far away. Those you want nothing to do with. So I think I've covered that as about as good as I'm going to cover. I hope that's helpful to you, Fat Muppet. And if there's anybody out there who's judging him for his question, how about taking a look at that? So that there's no room for any of that. Everyone's feelings are welcome. And I meet them all the same. Everybody has had an experience that brought them to that place, and they're here because they want to know what's true. Everyone who comes here is because you want to know what the truth is. You're looking for a higher truth of yourself and life. We're all looking for that love that unifies. So every question is welcome without prejudice or judgment. So we can look at it together. Because if I judge it, there's no opportunity. There's no opportunity for healing if somebody shows up already, with already has an idea of you. Show up empty, just empty. Whatever comes, it's coming from grace. It's coming from the desire to know what's really true. Can't argue with it. All right. So, all right, now I will let it go. Ella, who shifts the focus from the outside to the inside? It's the person doing who, then the person. doing, who then disappears by this shift, right? Right. That's exactly that's the question, isn't it? Right? Who's shifting the focus on the outside to the inside? Who's telling attention, um, look here? Well, it's you, isn't it? Who else? As far as I know, you're the only one in there. So it's you who's shifting the focus. And then who disappears by this shift? Well, the only thing that could disappear is just an idea, a concept, an image. Do you disappear in the shift? Are you shifted? Now look and see. Anybody who may be kind of new to this kind of inquiry may be a little bit confused by it. So let me just back up for a second, because the question is, when if we see that the image we have in our minds of ourselves is just an image and not you, and that to true up that image, to find out, like if I have an image of my car, I can look at my car. So there's the car. Okay, now I'm refreshed, right? If I'm the artist, I'm constantly looking back at the subject, right? Before I make, as I make my painting, I'm looking because I'm learning to see. Where do you look when you're trying to true up the image of yourself? Now, it's a great question, because the question is, well, if that image isn't me, then what is? Who am I? That's the question, right? Who am I? Well, I am. But hmm, it's me who decides to shift the attention from that image to that sense I am. That's you deciding that, isn't it? That's a decision that's made. That's a conscious choice. Well, that's you. That isn't a concept, is it? It's it's a real thing. It's a real experience. Okay? Now, boy, should I go this far deep into it right now? Okay, partway. Got it. The the person, right, doesn't do anything. They can't do anything because they don't exist. It's an image. Does the image in your mind do anything? Does the image in your mind shift focus? Can an image in your mind make your bed, cook your meals? Right? Of course not. It's an image. You make the bed, you make the meals, you shift perception. If you believe that the image in your mind is you, that is the person. That is the sense of identity. That is the ego. It has no actual existence. It's an image believed to be myself. And so I then take that image as myself. That becomes the window through which I see the world. The world now looks like it would look if I actually was that person. And that person then projects itself on everything else. This person I am, well, they're making the bed. I really don't like the way they make the bed. I don't want to make the bed today. I don't feel like making the bed today. Whatever it might be, right? This is, people get this really confused trying to understand. Well, there's no doer. Oh, there's no doer of anything. Okay, I can't be the doer then. The person isn't the doer. There's doing happening, isn't there? And you, in a very real sense, are doing it. Right? Because the person that is an image in your mind can't do a damn thing. It's like, the cartoon character. It really can't do anything. There's just images and stuff that we can enjoy. But when I believe that image is me, I will project that image on all the things I'm doing. And I'll ask, like, is the person doing this? Right? Like the person's this thing we have to get rid of. The person is an illusion. It's a projection onto what's actually here of something that isn't here, like the mirage in the desert. The desert's there. It's hot. I'm thirsty. There's no water there. That's a projection of the mind. Are you following that? So who disappears? Nobody disappears. In a sense, the person disappears as a person. That is, the 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 image is seen as just an image and not actually who I am. And as such, everything is now seen by you, not through the lens of the person, which sees like this, but by you, not the person, seeing things as they are, responding to things as they are. So, what disappears is the belief that I am that image. That's the person. It has to be so clear because people, oh, there's no person. I got to get rid of the person. There isn't a person. It is an idea projected onto your actual life so that you see the your life as that person, experience it as if you were that person, and that person doesn't exist. You see the rope, you see the snake, it's really a rope. When you know it's a rope, you're not fooled by the snake anymore. Even if your mind, in a dim light, sees a snake, which it will. Is that a snake? Right? It won't assume that to be the case. It'll just go, I don't know. It's not clear. And you'll approach, make cautiously, because the mind's still projecting it. It may actually be a damn snake. And that's it. You don't want to go either way. Oh, it's not a snake. Because now you got a concept of, oh, it's all an illusion, so there are no snakes, right? It's like, yeah, we're talking about the kind of thing that frustrates a lot of teachers. Because the impulse to identify is the real mischief maker. That's the culprit. Just seeing through that self image, what will happen is immediately another one will present it for you. And you just go from, oh, I can see that. Ah, it's just the image in the mind. Oh, it was just an image in the mind. Oh, I see it. Oh, look, I see that. Oh, man. Look at that. Oh, God, I had a revelation. I've made another step up. A whole new identity then takes shape until you see the whole game. Human life is about learning what the damn game is and then mastering playing with it. And the game is to simply see through the impulse to identify, to take form. But there's nothing wrong with the form. The form is great. The form is the vehicle of expression. In fact, the form is the self because it's one. What appears and that which is an appearance of are one. Because the nature of the one is not just static, it is love, life, expression, selfness. The self, the one, expresses itself in the appearance of many selves. As Balyani put it, the Sufi mystic, it is the other without otherness, the experience of many as one. So, in that sense, I am, don't think of it as the sense I am, that I have, that makes it two. That is me. I am. and then live as I am. Look from I am, while at the same time aware of I am. There's not two. I'm not sure I answered you, but because I did kind of go off, but I'm sure you got something on it. David and Elaine, good to see you. Good, good, good. There's Vigard from Norway. Mary, getting on late. It's okay. You don't have to come and confess your sins. Oh, I'm on late. I won't know. And in fact, 10:39, I was even late starting. So um, my sins, I don't have to confess because they're obvious. It starts late. So I'm kind of off the hook for confession, but you don't have to confess. Ida as well. So the one focusing on things that come and go feels like a flash of energy. I guess I should have read the rest of it. Comes the the one focusing on the things that comes and goes feels like a flash of energy. Well, isn't the feel like a flash of energy something that comes and goes? What's not coming and going? Right? The one if the one focusing on things that come and go is perceived, well, that too comes and goes. Is that there all the time? You're there all the time. But the focusing on things coming and going isn't there all the time. Doesn't have to be. This is not a path in which we're going to stare at something like forever. This path is it's incredibly. I mean, it's like a razor's edge and infinitely broad. I mean, how do you get both of those in the same boat? I don't know, but that's what it is. Anything you can perceive isn't you. It's just, it is such a simple guideline if when you follow it. Can you perceive it? Yes, not you. Okay, good. So I don't care how subtle it is, if it's perceivable, the tiniest little subtlety, even the feeling to identify, even the sense I am, so subtle. Wow. Simply, there's something more subtle there. And if anything I can perceive isn't me, then I must not be perceivable at all. I cannot know myself as any form. No image of me is me. And I cannot be known. I just am. Nay. Lovely explanation, Jean. Gonna give the exercise a go after waking up. Good. That's right, it's late there. Wonderful. Wonderful. Good, 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 good. Ida, true. Contemporary. Oh, Laird, I love your guidance. Feels like I've accepted the invitation to an event with the event when the event is me, with the event is me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, you are the event. You're the whole event. It's all you. It's all you. Mm, yes, you're the main event. Matter of fact, put this out there for anybody who can pick it up. You're the only thing that's happening. Fat, fat Muppet. Let me see if there's more down below here. Passive aggressive. Okay. Um, I've been fighting this truth my whole life. This particular thing is not a view of mine. I'm pointing out an obvious behavior that is passive aggressive. Uh, but I have realized now how to avoid female manipulation. I was just wondering how their morals got so screwed up. Um, again, you also shouldn't lose your common sense. Um, Aggressive men get judged by everyone to the point of it destroying their lives, but it's okay because they're men. Um, hmm. um, I would have to caution you about asserting it as an objective truth. Um, because if you do, you will not allow in anything that will contradict that view. That will be your experience of women. And it will keep you from ever having an intimate relationship with a woman who is not like that. It limits us. Yes, there are manipulative women out there. There most certainly are. There are selfish women out there. There are abusive women out there. I was raised by one of those, who was all three. Yes, they're there. And yes, one needs to be able to discern when they're there. But you also need to be discern when they're not. And the assumption that they're there, while it will protect you from those that are that, it simultaneously cuts you out of experiencing those that are not. It will also keep you from feeling any kind of compassion or empathy for whatever circumstances it was, whatever pain they went through that put them into that shape. Because nobody chooses to be that. It becomes a way of living, but that's all of us. We were all conditioned to be a certain way. Nobody escaped that. Right? The views you have were shaped by your conditioning, the experiences you had, which our nervous system and our minds generalize. And they always generalize to, in such a way to avoid safety, or excuse me, to ensure safety and avoid getting hurt. And so, if the only thing I care about is avoiding safety, the best way to do that is to simply characterize everybody like that, period. Right? That way, I will avoid the ones that can actually do it. So, everyone will look like that. When you're a hammer, the whole world looks like a nail. Now, what if it's possible to completely avoid those that are and have meaningful relationships with those that aren't? And being able to clearly see the difference. That's the common sense you're talking about. It's a wisdom that has a nuance, a continuum to safety. At first, the safety mechanism is so dominant us in children, everything is black and white. They're like this, period. Right? And for a lot, and for all of us, in some areas of our life, that stays. Safety is very powerful that way. It's, but if with time, patience, loving introspection, without judgment, right? Because you are right some of the time. The thing is, we want to make sure that we see things as they are. The ones that are, that need to be kept at arm's length or avoided at all costs, and the entire continuum. Because some just nowhere near, others, different kinds of relationships with. You know what they are, you know what they're doing, which means they can't do it to you. Right? If you're aware of it, they can't do it. Right? You can actually interact with them. You don't have to just stay away. Interact with them, and they won't be able to do it to you because you know it, you see it. And then there are those that are like completely open that you can have a great time with. Some maybe even one getting so close that it becomes a real genuine relationship. Genuine, right? No manipulation, complete and total support. So I just invite people to question their assumptions. Maybe there are, and there's nuances to it. There are so many nuances to it. Everything is so subtle. It is so gray, right? Shades of gray, and, and never black and white. Our capacity to letting our capacity increase to the point where we can be both compassionate and wise, know when to say yes, know when to say no, recognize things as they are without illusions. Um, that's real freedom. You know somebody is that way, and you know how to be with them, and you can do it without judgment. But you also have to remain open because people change. So it's not like you can't freeze the images, is what we do. This is an image, this is what it's like. It gets frozen in our heads, right? But it's just an image in the mind. Life keeps changing, things develop. The person who was that way a year ago might be actually completely open, healed. They've gone through a lot of personal introspection and the like. So, so the only thing that can really keep us consistently safe and open at the same time is this deep inner wisdom that comes from knowing yourself. Out of that comes the capacity to know others. As the illusions about yourself fall away, the illusions about others will fall away too. And you'll be loving, not stupid, not naive, just loving and wise. The perfect combination. Compassion with authority, assessment without judgment. And it's a very high state to attain to, but even little steps towards it have such deep reward to it that I recommend it to anybody. So thank you. Keep questioning this if you want. I'm more than happy to keep going with this on this with you. Um, Nay says it's often difficult to not judge and label others by their behavior and mistake patterns of behavior as who they actually are, especially if it's unpreferred or harmful. We often get caught up in how the behavior influences us to feel and not the conditioning influencing the behavior, nor the capacity for someone to change that behavior. That just opens the door to compassion. You don't have to do that for them, right? And we certainly don't want to start criticizing ourselves because we're judging them. We want to make sure that our judgment is a wise assessment, that you're actually seeing what's there, which could be, horrible. I mean, there are some real monsters that are, have power in our world. Let's face it. They shouldn't be there. That that's not a that isn't a judgment in the sense that I can know what happened to put somebody in that state that turned them into a monster. But they're a monster, and I need to keep a monster contained. Now, I don't want to just, chain him up somewhere and wait for him to die. Right? I, I'm going to do everything I can to get to the root of it and free the the being from the monster. But first, I have to make sure, there are no monsters uh, in my room, right? And and that's the power that this kind of wisdom brings, but it also brings the compassion. Yeah, right? So it's okay. Let yourself judge for a while. The more we're doing this work together, the more that judgment will become soft, right? And begin to discern between what is my projection, right, and what's actually there. And until that's clear, the judgment is keeping you safe by keeping you distant. Because if you mistake it, you're you're going to think it's good when it isn't, right? I mean, it goes two ways. This isn't a um, yeah. This isn't okay. We're all just going to be really good and love each other right now. Yes, and we're gonna, you know, I'm gonna watch out for you, right? If I know there's a thief, and you know, if I don't know somebody's a thief, you know, I'm just gonna be okay, and we're gonna go out together, and I'm gonna, gee, what happened to my watch? You know, what happened to my girlfriend, right? Um, if I know they're a thief, I can hang out with him, but I'm not gonna. I won't shake his hand. I'll cut my fingers after I do, right? It's just we have to understand that this is just the functioning of life. I once watched a hawk, right? It's way up there. It's just sitting out in the place I happen to be living. Just nice woods and stuff around. And I watched this hawk sweeping down for a squirrel, right? And I was rooting for the squirrel, of course, right? He caught it just in time. I mean, he missed him by a fraction as he went into the bush. And the hawk circled around again. He came out and ran into another bush, and the hawk hung around there for a while and finally left. I'm sitting there, oh God, that's great. And there, the hawk up there, I said, well, he hasn't eaten either. Well, now what do I do? Now I'm going to feel sorry for the hawk. What am I going to do? Come on, little squirrel. Come on. Get him, get him. I mean, this is where life is completely ambiguous. Everything has its place. Everything has had its cause. We can get to the state where we can see people as blameless because we understand that nobody chose to be an asshole. Nobody chose to be a monster. It happened. And stuff. And it, you do enough inner work on yourself and you realize that it could have been any one of us. Any one of us could have been that monster. Right? There's nothing special here. My conditioning didn't go that way, but I know the nature of conditioning. And had I been raised in that same environment, that would be me. This opens the door to a whole different level, but does not close the door from protecting yourself from monsters. Simple as that. That wasn't very simple, but that's kind of a way to end things, right? Simple as that. That was kind of a mindless little thing that came out there, isn't it? Okay, Ella. So I'm giving meaning to what I focus on. I am triggering a relationship. Um, this is interesting. Oh, yes, responding to things as they are, not as a thought makes it look like. Or, did you finish there somewhere? I guess not. Okay. Or, oh, that was for me. Okay. I got it. Um, Nothing has inherent meaning. Like that? Everybody agree? If if something had inherent meaning, right? That is, this thing or this event means this. If that was a fact inherent in the event itself, everybody would give it the same meaning. Obviously, right? If somebody was, let's say, objectively beautiful, everybody would look and say, he's beautiful, she's beautiful, he's beautiful, whatever. Right? But oftentimes people say, man, she's so hot. And I go, really? I find her absolutely. So there's no inherent meaning in anything. Nothing has inherent meaning. There are two trees over here. You guys can't see it. You know, these here have remained touch. The leaves are growing back for the for the spring. There are two trees over there, beautiful trees. They even block some of the sun, so my place stayed cool in the summer. They're doing some construction on these buildings, and the trees are still there, thank God. But almost to halfway to the top, they chopped all the branches off. So now, to me, that was shade, beauty, green. You know, I'm looking at just this beautiful green and the like. But to the people doing the construction, oh, it's a problem. We got to get us all away so we can build a house and stuff. A completely different view of it. Somebody else may look at it and say, oh God, what an eyesore. I got to get rid of that. Somebody else might be willing to chain themselves to it to keep people from cutting it down or touching it. Totally subjective. So the meaning given to anything that happens is completely within our minds. It is subjective. If the impulse to take that meaning as objective and thus form a relationship with it is the impulse to identify. If I take that meaning as true, I become that person. I now am going to experience everything through the eyes of that person. And I might even argue that my meaning is the right meaning, right? Guess where war comes from? But if I recognize that it's just a subjective observation, not only am I free from being confined within that, I'm now open to all sorts of things, all sorts of different ways of seeing it. So I can see it from the point of view of the real estate developer. I can see it from the point of view of the environmentalist. I can see it from the point of view of the botanist. I can see it from the point of view of the bug that lives there, from the birds that nest there, from the squirrels that run around on it, from the dogs that live there. Like I can see it from all those different perspectives, and they're all true, and none of them are the truth. What's the truth? That empty. And this is the meaning of emptiness that you've heard in spiritual circles. It's empty of inherent meaning. It's empty of a self. The self is the one looking at it. And the body is empty of a self. The self doesn't live in here. The self is not, a tiny little thing somewhere located in here, nor is it some little complex, tiny little complex in the brain. It doesn't exist anywhere or everywhere. It isn't. It is. It doesn't have dimensions. Even to go 5 dimensions, 10 dimensions, all the dimensions, whether that be mathematically or, we can think of it, more metaphysically, different dimensions of being and all stuff. Yeah, all of them. They're fine. They're all the self. They all have the same root. The self is dimensionless. It is beyond space and time. Space and time arise from it. The object and the space in which it is contained arise at the same time. Otherwise, there'd be no object. Without the object, there'd be no space. They're interdependent. They're mutually dependent. Dependent arising is what Buddha referred to it as. So there's a dependency on all of it. What doesn't have a dependency? Something must. Well, you don't. That is, you, the ultimate perceiver that cannot be perceived, are empty of all kind of inherent perceivable attributes. You are being itself. From the place of being. At first, your attention just abides with your being. Oh, there's my being. I'm going to abide here. Little by little, that becomes abiding as being. And then you are living life as being, which sees all meanings, sees all perspectives simultaneously, sees everyone's perspective, where it came from, how it originated, how it's acting itself out. It knows exactly how to respond to it in that moment, but never freezing them in that moment. No judgment as if there was somebody there consciously choosing these things. If there were, they would be worthy of judgment, condemnation, actually. And here's the rub: we have to condemn it and yet not judge. How's all this landing with folks? God, I wish I had you on my self-inquiry sometime. Let's see. Mary, thank you for your answer to Fat Muppet. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah. We'll see if there's more to say on that. Yeah. Thank you for saying that, because all I really want to know is that there are good women. Ah, you know what? You should join one of my classes. you will find you will find a whole lot of really good, sincere, honest women who don't want to manipulate. They want to know, and they want to know men they can trust. Yeah. When I have the not too dating service, what do you think? It's a good name for it. I gotta say that would be a very clever name for it. I could probably go out and get, a couple $1,000,000 seed money to get it started. But no, thank you. Uh, uh, that's yeah. We're all looking for authenticity. We're all looking for for someone to get close to, where it's safe to get close to them, where there's an environment where we can actually support each other in becoming emotionally free and happy, and and taste the the juice and the sweetness that life has to offer, um, without all the entanglements and the overhead and all the stuff that we seem to get so saddled by. We want a safe place to be ourselves. And as human beings, we want to have that with a significant other. It's the most natural thing in the world. Spirituality doesn't necessarily lead to the vow of celibacy in a monastery somewhere. Thank God. I wouldn't be able to do this if that was a requirement. Yeah, that kind of rules me out. Yeah. We want we want to taste all the fruits of life, but with innocence, with purity, with for what it let it be what it actually is, just the pure experience itself. And then let it have the meaning for you that it has in that moment, which is the only meaning it has. It doesn't mean we nothing has any meaning. When I was talking about that, nothing has any meaning, right? No. It has the meaning that you give it, which means the meaning that you give it will be a direct result of the relationship with it in that moment. The relationship isn't a permanent thing. Of course, we're going to form relationships. If I have a preconceived notion of who I am, that is a sense of identity, that will dictate what the relationship is going to be. Take the person out of it, and now the relationship is just fluid, right? Fluid. Some will just flow. I mean, I've had beautiful, intimate conversations that lasted for 10 minutes with taxi drivers in New York City. Just honest. Just honest. With no overhead. But it can happen anywhere. Just be in that relationship. That moment, I was just with this guy who's driving taxis who lived on Bronx or something like that, right? And we shared a moment. It was beautiful. I'm out of the. I'll never see him again in my life. Never see me. That's life. That's life. Sometimes happens in such a way that that spontaneity becomes a couple consistently continuing to be spontaneous with each other, continuously letting go of the image they have of the other, because it's just an image, so that the one they love can be reborn every day and they can fall in love every day. It's possible. It's hard. We have to become really mature. We really have to be willing to do this work for ourselves. But such a thing is possible for for two to do it together. That's why you can have sangha. And I mean, my my self inquiry sangha that I have, and then the other uh, groups that I have for the emotional freedom, they are totally loving, accepting, non-judgmental places. I am just, I'm so proud of it. What can I say? Yeah, pride. Boom, boom, boom. Yep, a little bit of human pride, because everybody who has come there has, has embraced that I, I idea, has embraced that in their hearts. They've been looking for it, and nothing is off limits in that place because it's safe. It's safe to be yourself, even even saying things that contradict what everybody else in the places said, and we do it. Right? Fine. It that's a sacred space. That's a place you go. Yes, and 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 it's so fulfilling and it's so opening, and it's a space in which you can heal because you don't have to hide anything. Right? We don't heal from our emotional problems because we have to hide them from everyone because they will be judged. Simple as that. And we judge them ourselves. If you learn to step back from the self judgment and you have a space in which you are surrounded by people who aren't judging you, it's an explosion of growth. It's amazing how fast it happens because that's all it needs. That's all we've ever needed, is to just be allowed to be our goddamn selves. But that's it. It's because we weren't allowed that as children that all this shit happened. That's the whole thing came about because it wasn't safe to be you. So, what's the remedy? Well, make it safe to be you with others and with yourself. That's the whole process, at least the way I do it, for emotional healing, inner reconciliation, is to become safe to be yourself, meaning beginning to learn how to accept yourself and love yourself as you are now, not at some future time when you have become whatever this mythical checklist of the right of what the right person should be is fulfilled, because it never is. It's funny, the checklist of how I get to the point where I'm finally lovable. It's like a scroll, right? It's more than a piece of paper which has a is an obvious end. It's a scroll which, for some reason, just keeps going. There's always something else. It's like, no, fuck that. I I choose to love and accept myself as I am now. I don't know how to do that. Everything in me says I shouldn't do that, but I want to do that. That's the beginning. All healing starts there. Hmm. Mary, hey G, I love that you are late. I have the same tendency when I have a job, I'm basically late all the time. Well, see, here's the deal. Uh, having been married for a while with someone from Latin America and knowing a lot of people in Latin America, living in pretty much Latin American neighborhood the entire 13 years I was in Florida, in Miami, uh, they don't see it that way. I grew up in the Midwest, and I worked in with corporations when I was a consultant, computer consultant, and I lived in New York City, and I moved to to Miami, you know, and all of a sudden, I'd be showing up on time, and I'd be the only one there. And then I realized that the Latin American view of time is very different. I went, I like this. It's like it starts at 8. That means 9, and then somewhere up later. Yeah, it's just assumed. It's just assumed. They don't have this, this tight ass white people. It's got to be, precise and all of that. It's just, and now it's like time. We're here, you know. I won't be rude, right, about it, but we can just kind of loosen up and go, God, just another pressure that we get put on for absolutely no reason. For absolutely no reason. Well, I guess that little diatribe there about time and in short, time, fuck it, vastly, vastly, vastly overrated. Oops, hit a wrong button over here. Hold on a second. Something's not working. Um, okay, too many things. Fatima, late again. According to what? Yeah, that's what triggered that, Mary. It's like, I'm late. According to what? Just, you know, all you have to do here, the easiest way to get over sin is to just redefine all sins as virtues. Job done. I am now without guilt. um, there's a beautiful quote I like from Douglas Adams, who wrote the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series. He said, I love deadlines. I love the whooshing sound they make as they go by. Laird, make me laugh is real. As a real snake. Yes. Good. I'm I'm glad. I'm sorry, folks, but spirituality is not serious business. Sorry. Yeah. If you want to be grumpy, well, there's an app for that, I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you for saying. All I really want to know is that, yeah, there are, my friend. Oh, there are. They really are. Took me a while to get to that point. For me, it was different. It was just trust. You know, they're out. They're out. But that was just my experience projected, and it was just so deeply ingrained in me that it took a very long time to really to to really open myself up, to come out of hiding in that aspect of my life enough for the potential for genuine intimacy to happen. Yeah. Um, yeah. Was the opportunity there before? Probably. Yeah. And I didn't see it. But because I didn't see it, I ended up in two very bad marriages. Yeah. Not one, but two. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So much for the you know the the virtuous spiritual teacher. Huh? These these things can really influence. They'll influence our whole lives. They really will until they are scrutinized and seen, and then freedom happens, and then you can see what to avoid, what to what to embrace. Say yes when you mean yes, and no when you mean no. It's, that's freedom. Mm. That Muppet, I really got what you said there. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. And I am so glad that you were strong enough and courageous enough to post that question in a public forum, like a spiritual forum like that. I congratulate you and thank you for being willing to do that and to engage with me on that level. That is that's what a real man does. Congratulations. You're more the real thing than you think. Yeah, that's that's courage, not being right, but willing to find out if you are. Because what do you really want? Just want something real. My heart and my body, they want something real. That that drives it. Not what you believe now. Strongly you believe it, and the stuff that passes for man are these just I really do want to do a workshop just for men and just for women separately. Problem is I never get any men to show up. I put it on and nobody signs up. It's kind of the thing with men. And I was going to bring that up to the people in the WhatsApp, the women on the WhatsApp group about that because I've been asked about it and um, I'd like to do it. I just have to know how to go about uh, doing it for a variety of ways. So there's yeah. So I'm going to engage help of all the women who are interested, and I'm sure there's quite a few. And if I can get enough men to show up, I'll do. We can do it too, guys. Uh, mm, David, wait, would you come back here? Oh, I missed Patricia tonight. Where are you, Patricia? Skipped ahead there. Hello, much love uh, to all. G. I'm in Austria. Oh, scattering my father's ashes. Mm. I didn't know. I don't know if I told you he passed at 95. No, love, you didn't. Oh, mm, mm. Wow. I know that was a very influential relationship for you and not always great. Uh, but what will linger, what will last, is the good, the genuine. Uh, because that was always the real him, his real being, but buried under the conditioning and not have, having access to the grace that could awaken him to that and set him on the path to freedom. Yeah. But those bits, the good stuff, they're you now. They're you. Uh, they've been activated in you. They're shared with you. So, yeah. Nobody ever really dies. Nothing actually dies. Nothing is actually born. Forms appear and disappear, for sure. But all form is empty of a self. It's empty of inherent meaning, inherent being. Its being, it draws from the beingness itself, which is your true nature. Our human lives are empty of a self. You, that which is engaging in it, that which is aware of it, experiencing the human life, are that self. You have no beginning, no end, no birth, no death. The form that it's appearing is in a constant transformation, isn't it? The body is, cells are dying and being reborn, constantly maintaining temporarily this form. But there's no one living in here. It doesn't make up a self. It's the illusion of AI and, sentient machines, and consciousness is a function of matter. It's not. It doesn't exist because of that. You can't make a sentient machine because it isn't. Consciousness being is not made of any part. It is the indivisible essence of all things. So everything is an emanation of it. And notice that you've constantly been changing from the moment the sperm hit the egg, and got together to make one. The two became one. It started to split, and has been doing that ever since. And so all that happens is this form eventually runs out of destiny, and it's gone. But where do you go? Nowhere. Everywhere. Where have you been? Nowhere. Everywhere. You were that before anything appeared, before any birth appeared. You'll be that after the experience of death, which you'll witness, you'll watch it. Yeah. It, if you've done this kind of work enough, you will just watch it happen. You'll find more and more equanimity and peace coming as you let go of more and more of the appearance of your life. And everyone in it, which are in fact all coming with you as you, uh, it will be just this peaceful experience of just letting go of this. And being, just a time of being, just being. It could be another form taken on. Maybe like this, on an earth, could be another dimension, completely different. I live for 1,000 years, could be a different universe, because all of the universe and everything is, that's all part of it. That all comes in existence at what we call the birth, which is just the appearance of you, the undifferentiated consciousness experiencing. It arises to you, the universe, all of it. You don't get born into a world. It arises in you. Having multiple lives doesn't mean, the earth is this place, that is consistent and perpetual, and you get born into it and then die out of it and come back and go. No, you're what's the constant, and the earth is earth's beings, places, settings, universes come and go to you. You are Brahman. Every time Brahman blinks, a universe is created. Every time it was out of existence on every blink. There is no death. There is no birth. You only live once, and that is forever. If you need to talk, Patricia, please contact me. Just no, no charge. Nothing. I just my old friends. If you know me for a very long time, we go back. So if you need to talk, I'm there for you. Yeah. Lots of people sending you love. David, I have the hardest time with this as it relates to boundaries because I can read people right away and then I feel bad I'm judging them. Yeah. You're not, you know. And what you're doing is judging yourself, obviously. I feel bad. I'm judging them. Oh, I'm so horrible for judging them. Well, you know what? Say, fuck it. I'm judging them. All right. I don't want to judge them. That's my higher ideal. So if I'm judging them, okay. Um, you know, there's no God sitting up there taking notes and just waiting for the next thing you fuck up. I know that's what you got. It's in there. There's this sense that there's some kind of condemning judge. There isn't. The only condemning judge we have to deal with is us. Right? And when you start to get the feel of that, the heart, our hearts that are naturally open and loving, want to open and love. We become aware of the way we've judged others, and then we start beating ourselves up for that. Instead, go, I'm judging them, right? So my judgment of them is just how I see them, which may not be true. That's the end of judgment, right there. That's all it takes. So I gotta stop judging it, which is perpetuates it. What's the end of judging? Realizing it's just a judgment. It's a it's a limited perspective based on my own experience, right? And I may not be seeing them correctly. I know I'm not seeing them correctly. I could be way off. I could be off by a little, right? But I know I'm not seeing them correctly because I only have a small view of it. Right? So I just open myself up to seeing them more clearly and myself more clearly, to look at myself with more love, and then maybe I can see them with a bit more love. And then what'll happen is you'll be able to trust how you're reading them, which won't be a judgment anymore. It'll be a wisdom that keeps you safe because you won't get entangled with those that you shouldn't, and you'll be able to let in those that you can. And so you don't really have to figure that all that out. And that reading of them, when you see somebody who's an ass, it's it's not a judgment; it's an actual perception. Right? To get there, well, first off, remember that the judging that you're doing right now is the only way you have of keeping yourself safe from them because you have been abused by these people, right? So to judge them means I won't get near them. Okay, that's a good place to be. That's the right place to be at first, right? Because you're safe here. Okay. So that way, now from here, without forcing yourself to do anything, you simply go, okay, that's how I'm perceiving them. My perceiving could be wrong. Right? So I'm just going to open myself to the possibility that that's not what they are. Right? So I'm going to set that aside for a moment. I'm just going to feel. Now you're not dropping anything. You're not dropping distance yet. But eventually what'll happen is you'll be able to maintain the distance without the judgment. Right? And then I can move a little closer. This one's okay. This one's okay. This one's truing out a bit. And it's not something, judge, it's not black, white, yes, no. They're in, they're out. It becomes this gradual thing that you gain trust over time. Right? Their behaviors become, if they're consistent with um, your impression, right, then it trues itself. But remember, our judgment of others is a protective mechanism. It's not a sin. It's the only way we found, right, to keep some people at bay when you've had an experience like you have of being constantly having your boundaries just violated, ignored. To, it's like they aren't there. If it's just power their way through with nothing but heaps of judgment on you, right? So there can be a little bit of, you know what? Fuck off. It's my turn. You're an asshole. And in a lot of cases, you're absolutely right. They are. And you can be confident in your assessment of assholes. It's a very powerful thing to be able to do. And it's even more wonderful to go, yep, they're an asshole, and stay away from them. But I've got nothing against them. God bless them. Yeah. They could hurt me. They could want to hurt me. They could try to hurt me. We have those kinds of um, people trying to take over the world, basically, um, who have no empathy whatsoever. They want to hurt you. Yes, you need to protect yourself from them. And you can do that and love them at the same time. Isn't that weird? Yeah, but it's possible. I saw an interview. Well, it was actually a conversation between a friend of mine um, who was speaking in uh, in the East, in India. Actually, he was speaking in India, and he had a conversation that recorded with this woman, and she ran. Uh, I don't know if it was I think it was the prison system for her state in or province there uh, in India. She ran the prison system, and they have you know a tiny little um, return rate, right? The ones who go into prison, they come out of prison and they don't come back. I mean, it's just an infinitesimally small number that do, where the rate here in the US is just staggering, right? And he asked, well, how do you do it? I said, he says, well, here's the difference. You hate your prisoners. We love our prisoners. We love these folks serving their time who have done bad things. We love them, and they respond to it. It's so simple, so simple. But they're in prison. Note that. Oh, I love. It's okay. Go on. No, no, no. The thief is a thief. Keep your distance from the thief. They're in the prison. Love them there until they are ready to actually enjoy the fruits and the benefits of their freedom, which means being freed from their self-image, from their conditioning, from their experiences. The studies have shown quite clearly that the most violent criminals, the real monsters that we have in prison, no, not the real ones, they're in the government, the, the monsters that are in prisons, these horrific crimes. I mean, the worst ones we can think of, every single one of them had something like that done to them or their family close to them. That's what they grew up with. That's all they knew. It wasn't their fault. They're not monsters. They're children. Children who are dangerous and we need to protect ourselves from. But children nonetheless. Jacqueline, yes, no inherent meaning. Yep. It's amazing though, because look at the media. What's it trying to do? Force a story down as if it was the truth. Oh, this is the way it actually is. Mm. Okay. Daryl, since there's obviously not to, is there any purpose for worship? Yeah, to express in some concrete forms your love of the one, the love of yourself. That's what worship is. For many, worship is the worship of another. If they're really devoted to that other, and it isn't just a concept or an excuse for my own lust for power, Christian nationalist, um, then if it's genuine devotion, you become closer and closer to it. The worship is a surrender to it till there's just almost nothing left of you, right? Not my will, but thine be done. To the point where the only thing left to surrender is you. Now, for somebody purely on the devotional path, it's inconceivable, but eventually everyone has to then pick up the other side of the coin, which is the jnana path, the path of wisdom, to question, oh, even me. I've let go of everything, but I'm still too. Lord, purge me of me and replace me with you. Becomes the devotion. So yeah, there's a place for worship. It's interesting that Nisargadatta, a totally non-dual teacher, just, I mean, besides being just a real character, just really precise and brilliant, all day, twice a day, he would do these little rituals. And the people who would come for the non-dual satsang, which he did in the morning and in the afternoon, um, they weren't there, but a lot of the people, local people, would come. He'd be lighting incense, and he'd put a garland on a picture of his guru up there. I've seen my teacher Muji. I think when the mandir was at Sahaja, his home and ashram, as he walked up to it, there was a big picture of his teacher, Papaji, right at the door, and he just broke down and started to weep. That's yeah. There's a place. It's just like love. Is there a place for deep, intimate romance? Yeah, of course there is. Even though they're not two, how does the not two manifest if not by two? See, the not two and two are not two. That's the thing. The manifestation is the manifestation of the one. It is empty of an objective self, a self-existence. It's objective of inherent meaning and all of that. And so, what is it then? Well, it is nothing but the self knowing the self, and the self is love. So that's the worship, right? Worshipping the one, worshipping itself, loving itself, manifesting itself in in just countless forms, but never ever becoming any of the forms. And it's important on the non-dual path, the path of wisdom, or Vedanta, or jnana, as you are, to not ignore the bhakti path, because this path of non-duality, especially here in the West, where it's so widely distributed, YouTube and all over the place, and so little understood. It isn't the same as where it came from, where you would spend 12 years in service to the master before you ever heard a word of this. Right? We're not as prepared for this, and the tendency is to get it conceptually, which feeds the ego, and you get the arrogance on that side, right? That is extremely difficult to break through. I've worked with people. I've had them come to me and then not come back because they don't want to let go of the superior position they feel in, because they know this and they're so good at it, and yet they're suffering, and they wanted me to tell them, to show them how it was really an illusion so they wouldn't suffer anymore. And I told them they had to accept the suffering and let yourself feel the suffering. They didn't like that and didn't come back. The worst, the nastiest comments I have gotten on my YouTube videos have come from those who are with teachers that are strictly, that are that, right? They're the ones that condemn other teachers. This is the wrong teacher. No, this is the only teacher. You don't know what you're talking about. And even way nastier. I mean, I was like, really? I said, does your teacher know you're saying shit like this? I is this like approved? I was like, uh, sometimes it's so nasty. I actually do delete it, which I don't do. Right? First off, good, bad, or indifferent, YouTube counts it as engagement, and so shows me to other people. But also because, okay, great. And I oftentimes see other people kind of join in and go, dude, really, right now. Um, but it's one of the problems, it's kind of the main problem in teaching of non duality in this day and age, um, is that it's so conceptual and we are so subject to pride, to arrogance. The ego wants something to be better than others. Right? That's where shoop, the devotional path is, right? God damn, it is by grace that we are saved. The only reason I've encountered this teaching is because of grace, not because I was, so smart and all. The only reason what understanding I have has because of grace. It has been given to me. None of it has been of my doing. That you get on the bhakti path, the total surrender to the grace that is bringing you to the realization that it is all you, but it first has to clear away everything that isn't you. And oftentimes on this path of self-inquiry, you hit a wall and you finally just say, Lord, purge me of ego, replace me with you. I can't go any further. And in that moment, the ego, to a degree, surrenders. Suddenly, the answer starts to appear. But it requires that transformation of us, that wrenching transformation, right? Where we have to let go of our attachment to who we think we are, seeing that it is a self-image and nothing else. Whoa. That's great. Now you got to let go of your attachment to it. That's not so great. Oh, I'm going to wait a minute. I like that. I like that. Why don't I like that? Somebody ain't taking everything. No, it's like, it's kind of like you need the side of, bhakti. We need love. We need compassion. We need to be able to approach this and realize, oh my God, did I fuck that up? Views of things we've done in our life that are just, they are just double hand face palms, right? All of that will be exposed. Even Nisargadatta says, when you begin to put your attention on yourself, on the sense I am, all sorts of all sorts of things are going to come to the surface. What you see will not be a pretty sight. Stay with the eye, let it come, let the reactions be there. That's how you learn how to discern. Yes, you will see your bullshit exposed and you want to hide it. Why you need it's why you need a teacher. It's why you need a sangha. Right? So when you finally is exposed and you think you're going to die because you've been hiding it from everybody because you're so horrible and you look like Quasimodo and you got a hunchback and you're so ugly that you can people around and go, yeah, so you go, what? I mean, it's not that big a deal. No, it's not that big a deal. Suddenly it's like freedom. Freedom, love, right? Love will set us free. The love we didn't get did this. The love we do get does this. Compassion without boundaries opens the door to suffering. Exactly. Compassion and wisdom are one. Um, the the kind of what people think of as compassion, or just all right, I'm going to overlook it, and forgiveness and that sort of thing is not wise. Yeah, that will lead to a suffering that you'll be even more confused and resentful about, because I'm being compassionate. Why is this still happening? Because it's not. The real compassion is also wise. Love and truth are one and the same. You can't have one without the other. You can't have a genuine deep love without truth. And a truth without love is a dictator. You know? It's not even truth, because love is truth. That's that's an authoritarian. That's the New Testament God, or the Old Testament God. All rules, no mercy. It's the great enforcer, right? Without, this is the truth, this is the way it's going to be, which of course it isn't truth. It's just a story, it's an opinion being touted as truth, because truth is love. Truth can shift forms, appear in all sorts of different forms. Right? It's appearing in the form of you. So truth is not an idea. It is being itself. Reality, truth, being, existence, I am, isness. That's true. What is truth? What truth is love. Yeah. That's what you worship. Make an altar to it. Light incense to it. Right? Just because our human experience is one of being redeemed into love, right? Being healed by love. That's what we're experiencing. That will at some point be seen itself to be part of the appearances that are being perceived, but you will also see that these appearances are not a mistake or an accident. This is how you, the, the one, experiences itself. Because in and of itself, the absolute, which does not require any of this to exist, doesn't really even know itself. It is just pure isness. This is inconceivable, folks. So don't try to think about it. Just see if your heart can take it in. Before there can even be a sense of I am, you must be, right? Something exists prior to any experience of it. Pure being, the self, pure awareness, just is. Its nature is love, for it is one. Out of it arises the sense of I am, which is secondary. It's the firstborn, it's the first perception. It's not the perceived. It's as close as we can get before that even dissolves, and we dissolve into the absolute. But out of that is the love. I am is just love manifest. And everything says I am. Every form, no matter how slight, how small, how, whatever it is it's all at essence. I am, isn't it? It's all being. Everything derives from the being. And the being is what you are. The being is what is hearing my words now. It's what's seeing all this. It's the only seer, the only knower, the only feeler, the only experiencer, the only cognizance, the only sentience of the universe is the absolute being, which is you. You. Now, how do you love yourself? Worship. Worship at the altar of being. Worship the tree because it's being. It isn't the kind of idolatry people think it is. Worship the incense. Worship the cats. Worship the sky. Worship the sun because it is all being. Worship yourself. Worship your loved ones because that's being. The Sufis say, wherever the eye lands, it sees the face of God. God is another word for being, just your being. Uh, just going to scan through here because it seems like a good place to leave it. And um, at first, I would try to answer all the other questions all at once. Because no matter what form your question took, boil it down to its essence. It's going, how do I really know who I am, feel that, live that, experience it as my actual experience? Beautiful. That's really what it comes down to. The discovery of what you are opens the door to experiencing everything as it is, and everything as it is you find to be nothing other than yourself, the manifestation of yourself. You look around, you see you. Now, when we hear that, and we've not yet um, delved deeply enough into the deep end, means you probably haven't had a guide to do it, that I of the self who is one, somehow we try to form a concept of it. We try to fit it all into the context, not realizing that um, you can't do that. You are already that. You are already experiencing that. And now you are experiencing yourself as someone who forgot who they were. So that sense of I now is not referring to its actual source, which is the pure being. It's referring to an idea. That's the reference point for it. That's the personal self. The process, the path, the sadhana by which you become liberated from that is to see the ideas of yourself as just ideas, recognizing that who you are cannot be known as any idea, cannot be known as a thing at all, but is that which is knowing right now, and is right now, including that sense of being somebody who forgot and doesn't know. And then to follow the whole path of the sadhana. Right? It's not something you just get rid of, because the one trying to do the sadhana is also just part of the picture being watched by you, the real self. And what's happening is the I, which came out from the self as the I am, and then immersed itself into its own manifestation, to experience that manifestation from a particular point of view, that has run its course. That range of experience, which could be millions of lifetimes, has run its course. It's come to the end. And that end is the intuition that draws you to this. That's its grace. Because you didn't choose it, because the one who would choose it is actually in the movie, in what is being experienced by the only real experiencer there is, who cannot possibly do that, but cannot get, like the music cannot get lost in a song and there is no music. Its nature is infinite, but it can appear as anything. Right? All opposites are there. So all opposites are experienced. That's the experienced as someone. But that someone has no inherent existence. And that someone then is being brought by grace out of that, the sense I being brought back out of the identification with the person, back to the pure I am, and then dissolving into the absolute. Now this is all happening, right? Humanly speaking, somebody will hear that and go, oh, I don't have to do anything. No. You are living as if you are that person trying to discover who they are. And then you'll find eventually that that too is just part of it. The seeker is being watched by the sought. But the entire thing must unfold itself. Karma must be fulfilled. It seems strange to folks. Yeah, but I'm not that. And this is where the absolutists, the neo-Advaitists, or as my teacher calls them, calls it bullshit Advaita, get lost. Oh, I just transcend it. There's nothing here. There's nobody there to do. There is no karma. All the while, they're just building up karma. No, it does not exist absolutely, but it's part of this. It is part of the manifestation, and therefore, every single detail of it must be fulfilled. As the I, the sense of I, comes out of that identification, the I am this or that, I am the body, I am this person, gently, gradually becomes simply I am. It's as if, as Ramana Maharshi puts it, God fulfills the obligations of karma. Or as Nisargadatta put it, I leave my human life to fulfill its destiny. I remain as I am. That's the liberated I, just still experiencing. It hasn't completely run its course to dissolution and to the absolute. Thank God, because if it happened immediately, there'd be no teachers. There'd be nobody to tell us, here's what's going on. There'd be nobody to be drawn to. There'd be nobody to write the Gitas or speak these things, were that not the case. But at the I am, more and more the light of reality shines through. The timeless shines into the field of time, and the the apparent person or form is no longer speaking as the belief of a person, this a personal self. It is the absolute speaking in as a form. The form goes back to its rightful owner, which is the self. And so the form now is simply speaking the truth. It is the body of the truth. It is the body of God. The words are God. The lips are God. Everything is. There's no person there at all. There never was. But that was the experience that God, you, were having. Um, did I lose anybody? Just kind of, I just kind of got lost in that. And on that note, I think I will just let this all go for now. Um, whatever your question might have been, it was answered. Yeah. All right, my loves. Until next time. Love you all. Namaste.